You want to start it or do you want me to start?
You started. You're good at starting it.
I'm Mike Kitchen.
And I'm Blair Kitchen.
And we are the Kitchen Bros. This is our podcast. Episode 4, starting now.
Party on, Mike.
Party on, Garth.
So,
what do you think about space? Coming home from
space, that's big. Oh, space. The Small Press and Alternative Comics Expo that happens once a year in Columbus, Ohio. That we were just at last weekend. Was it last weekend already?
Yeah.
2 weekends ago.
Oh,
a week.
Yeah,
It was only. We got back a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do I think about it?
Thoughts?
Well,
thoughts on conventions in general?
Let's muse on space. No, convention in general. Well, I don't know. Space is like all the other conventions, I think. Kind of. I mean, the great thing about space is that the table costs are low. So when you don't sell 1 million comics, you can scrape by covering them. The bad thing about space is that you have to drive to get there and pay for hotel rooms. So
that's the biggest problem is that the costs keep going up for everything. Table costs and gas prices and everything else.
I was amazed that when we were talking at space and going back and looking at the fan expo with Toronto. Our first one was in 2006. Table costs were $150 a table. Now what are they charging? $350, almost $400 for a table, which is ridiculous because we've always we always say that our first convention in 2006 was the best one we ever did at because we actually came out ahead. And then looking at the numbers because I've been keeping track of stuff. We've actually been selling a lot more.
I don't do that. I've never keeping track of the books because it's always been too depressing for me. Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes it's more depressing because you think, not keeping track because, like I was saying, we kept track of the stuff and last like the first year we came out with a bigger profit, but fact of the matter is we've been selling a lot more comics at these conventions, but the table costs have been double, triple. It's ridiculous. So it does make it tough to come out ahead, especially when you're not a big name guy. We can't go selling original artwork and meeting all our groupies and coming away with thousands of dollars.
I think that that was the big takeaway I had is I'm starting to wonder if it's not even worth doing conventions until you do have that group of people that's there to see you specifically.
Yeah, I'm at a bit of a crossroads. Like I know what you mean. I kind of think without the conventions though, you kind of do lose a presence, but
you do.
I don't know how.
This is the brilliant idea I've been thinking.
Oh God, help us all.
So I'm wondering, what if you actually go to the conventions that are, just as an attendee, especially ones that are free to get into. You show up with a backpack full of comic books, and I don't know if there's a way to just use, something like tweet out your location or something. So there's always a way for people.
Wait. Are you going to get an iPhone or something like that?
I would if this plan works. It's cheaper than getting a table.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually,
what it costs for Fan Expo, I could get a nice iPhone.
That's true. That is true. You might be onto something there.
So, again, I keep thinking of with Javier Hernandez when we saw him at WonderCon with his backpack full of comics and it's like a miniature booth inside of his backpack that you could just open up and set up.
Yeah. Remember the one of the Fan Expos we saw a girl there. She had like a popcorn, almost like one of those things you have on,
like
selling popcorn
or whatever they are.
Yeah, at the baseball games, it was full of comic books, and she was just walking around.
Yeah. The
portable table.
Yeah.
Well, we did that at TCAP once, right? We
with trades.
We didn't get in, so we were curated out. Is that how the term is?
Voted off the island.
Voted off the island. So we just went there with stacks of comic books, and it was funny joking afterwards that we gave away, I don't know, 100 or so comic books, and to think that we actually came out better than when we had the table, because
I know,
with the table we lost a little bit of money. This one, at least we broke even.
which is
So
better than you can say for most conventions these days.
yeah, I know. Well, we usually do all right. We usually make back our table costs, but not a heck of a lot more. And I think the reason why, and we touched on this before, I think, is that bigger web presence, right?
Yeah.
And then the conventions start becoming, it's all timing, right? Like the conventions start becoming better or more lucrative or more worthwhile if you can build up some sort of an audience via the web and then actually meet the audience at the conventions. So I don't know.
I'm almost starting to think until you're successful enough that they're asking you to come, like they're actually somebody wants you there, rather than
Yeah,
just going and hoping that somebody notices. What do you think about
yeah.
that?
I think. Well, I think that's might be a little wishful thinking. I don't know. I think you do have to do your time going to the conventions though as well. But I think with what you have to do
Well, that's why I'm
is
thinking if you
use.
go to the conventions and where you're showing up, you can go and meet people and talk to people, hand out comics and all that, but you're not sitting beside your table in the Isle of Broken Dreams.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing where we lack in, and it's just merely a matter of time, is that you have to do both. I think you have to build up that web presence, and you have to, you know, ideally it would kind of be working together, right? Building up the web presence and going to conventions, then you'd see some growth. But the thing is that, and you talk to a million indie artists, they're all in the same boat where you have families and full-time jobs and you're doing it on the side, and then
Mhm.
um, you got to pick your battles, and it's either do you do the artwork, do you do the web promoting, do you do the conventions? It's very tough to do all three without burning out, and we've done it for a while. I know
Mhm.
we've kept it up for a year, and then eventually you just burn out. It's
Yeah.
just too much to do. So, um, but I think during that year, we weren't doing we were keeping blogs and doing all that stuff, but I don't think we were, a web comic per se, or giving them something, at a regular basis. I think
Mhm.
that's where you're gonna find stuff growing, but another thing to work on. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if I guess that's kind of what I've been thinking with the whole thing because, we've been doing the convention thing, and if anything, we've been seeing less of a return as the years go by rather than any sort of growth.
Yeah,
So I'm just trying to think, if that strategy isn't working, then it's a matter of trying to come up with a new strategy
yeah,
and see if that works, rather
yeah.
than, what's the, oh, there's a smart quote about something like that. It's too late to think
You
of all
you
these
didn't
things
come
now.
up with it, did you?
No, it wasn't me.
It might have been something I said. I don't know. You
But
remember?
it has something to do with, um, ex, expecting different results from doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, that's is that Einstein?
Yeah,
If
I'm
you do
pretty
the
sure it
same
is.
thing, if
I'd
you do the
Google
same
search it, but
thing.
every time I Google search,
Wait,
then my computer crashes.
I think I just read that quote the other day. One moment. Uh,
Well, this is boring
well,
radio.
maybe I. No, no. Well, keep them going. Keep them going. Do. Oh. Well, this is This is the Einstein quote. It's probably a different one. You're probably thinking of the one David Icke uses, but this one: insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
That's the
That's
one. Yeah, that's the same
Is
one
that the
David Icke
same one?
uses. Yeah, it's the
Doesn't
Einstein
he
one.
use? Well, he kind of changes
No,
it.
it's the same one.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. I also
Verbatim.
like I also like Einstein's quote: "Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity." And I'm not sure about the universe. That's on a different. That's a whole different topic. But we
So what
can.
would happen if Einstein sold comics?
I, they probably wouldn't do too well. They'd probably be too.
Although he had the right time for it, isn't that when? Although
No, his
Marvel
would
or
be too
DC would own all his
sophisticated.
characters if he was doing that.
Yeah, they'd own E equals MC squared. They wouldn't know what to do with it. We wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have relativity. No,
So you're gonna
I
go
don't
see
know.
the Avengers movie?
The Avengers, yeah, I think I am. I haven't been to a movie, I think, in over a year. I don't even know what the last movie I saw was. It could have been was it, which Spider-Man movie did we go see? The really, number
Yeah,
3?
the one that
It
shall
might have been
not be
that.
named.
I had a really bad track record there. I saw Indiana Jones and was it the Crystal Skull and then Spider-Man 3. And I didn't want to see, I didn't want to see the Indiana Jones ones, but Rochelle, my wife, wanted to go. So I said, okay, we go. And we went. And then you and Erica were going to see Spider-Man 3. I'm like, oh, God, okay, well, let's go. And then I think that ruined me for movies for about a year and a half. So, but the Avengers one, does look pretty cool. Joss Whedon is directing it, so that gives me some hope. And, yeah, I don't know. Looks kind of cool. And it looks like one of those movies that, and I hate to say this because I really hate this mentality of just going to see a movie for cool effects and things blowing up and stuff like that. But this one is one that actually I don't mind saying that. Hopefully with Joss Whedon there'll be a good story. As long as there's not any like bad dancing and and stuff like that, like some Spider-Man movie we won't mention. Oh, wait, we already mentioned it. But
Yeah, the thing that I think is interesting about it is it's the first real superhero team movie. Like it's just the epic in scale, and everybody's got the bright superhero colors and the crazy powers, and the fact that they've
yeah,
already set up all the characters in their own movies. So it's not
I'll,
just going to be a boring 2 hour, oh, this is everybody's origin.
I'll give them this. They didn't make everyone's suits black with fake muscles
Yeah.
on it. They might have the fake muscles, I don't know, but it's not all black, and that's good by my books. Nice and colorful. So
It's a movie I wish I
do like
animated on. Every time
Yeah.
we see those effects, like, oh, I wish I got to animate one of those shots.
Where was it done?
I'm not sure.
No. We'll have to
Didn't look
look
into
that
it.
up. Yeah.
Too busy here in Toronto
This
making
is
comic books.
this is where we need our little message boards open with our people listening live that can text us in things.
All the answers.
We'll find.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll know in about 2 seconds. If I had a
Once I get my convention iPhone, then we can
Yeah.
get all that.
and then you can get instant. That is a strange thing with iPhones, eh? That they just instant knowledge. It almost makes conversations like almost boring because like we're sitting here. Oh, what's this? At least with the quote, I had to go to a book that I had actually like written it down in. But with iPhones, like you're like, oh, someone's describing a cool video that they saw. Like, oh, here, let me just type it in and I'll show you.
Well, that's been a
And,
funny thing going into conventions and stuff because everybody automatically thinks that you have an iPhone. So it's like, oh, let's meet up after the show. We'll go to this place. What's your email address? I'll send you a text message. Or it's like, we got nothing. We've got our stupid little clocks, those portable bed clock
and
in our pockets to keep time.
oh, you still
That's all we
there?
got. Yeah, I'm still here,
Oh,
but it looks like it's freezing a little bit. Oh,
you froze on me. I don't
it's
know.
saying that there is a problem with the internet. Still going? Yeah, you're frozen too, but
I'm frozen now?
well, we're still getting audio. As long as we're still getting audio, then this should all work.
All right. Your audio cut out for a second. So.
Did it?
Yeah, we need a tech man. It's good now, though, so we should be all right. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
They won't know. They won't even know. We'll edit it in post. Yeah. I'm stuck.
Yeah,
No.
with the whole Avengers thing, there's been all the people who are, like Steve Bissett's been talking about that, just as far as the Kirby errors and making sure that, the fact that they're not getting their cut for the characters he created and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat that this is becoming sort of a lightning rod for the whole creators' rights debate.
Yeah. I mean, I guess all these movies have to some extent, right?
To some extent, I guess.
With Ditko. Is this one being more? Is this more with Kirby? I mean,
Well, I've been noticing it a lot more just because the whole Kirby thing. Like,
yeah,
I think with Ditko, since he's a lot more isolated, I guess. Like he kind of withdrew himself from most of the mainstream comics and has been self-publishing his own stuff, and
yeah,
it's not nearly as vocal. Like I don't remember hearing all the or this kind of drama when the Spider-Man movies came out, but with the Avengers one
yeah.
and with all the Kirby stuff, I don't know, was that stuff in the courts
I guess,
recently?
yeah, I think it was just in the courts recently, so
And
that's
just the fact that he
part of it.
created, aside from Spider-Man, he basically created everything in Marvel, or the
Yeah.
majority of it anyway, lots of it.
Well, Ditko, what did Ditko create? Spider-Man? Is that Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
But is that it for the? I mean, I guess Kirby did pretty much all the Avengers, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't have
Or no,
a
who
iPhone
created
for all
Thor?
the answers. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I'm pretty sure that was Kirby.
Yeah, I have a computer here. I'm just kind of too lazy to
Every time I did it on the
type it up.
last podcast, it ended up throwing all the audio out of sync, so I had to
Yeah.
try and resync everything. So trying to save myself some work.
We need a third member of this podcast so that they can be our information person and just keep feeding us. We
Yeah.
could get back. Oh, actually, he did create Thor, and someone who doesn't have to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
So you don't watch us as we sit here typing. We'll get it all worked out, folks. But yeah, okay. So interesting with the whole creators' rights thing. I mean, a lot of you hear a lot. One kind of point I've heard on message boards is people saying it's like, well, they knew the contracts that they were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
If they signed the contracts, that's their fault. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, look at the contracts we have to sign for animation. It's
Yeah.
essentially the same thing. Like, we don't even see any sort of, what do they call that, residuals? I don't even know what they call the stupid thing, where you get money for the rest of your life for the work that you've done.
Royalties?
Royalties, residuals, I don't know what they call
Yeah.
that. Remember on the set of the superhero movie when you were talking with all the different extras? There was the guy that played the snapping turtle. He was the stunt man for the snapping turtle in Ninja Turtles 2. And he was talking about how he still gets checks for that.
Yeah. Which is
I was
ridiculous.
thinking, I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, I know. We get nothing. I mean, that is why both me and you are doing it. Well, not the only reason, but for me, that's a big reason why I'm doing comic books.
Yeah.
You got to own something. You got to. And now the thing is too, what I was kind of thinking is with the whole work for hire contracts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back then though, I don't even think they really had work for hire wasn't even really
Well, that's the thing.
was it? Like back then, now it is. Right now, I don't think there's any excuse. I mean, if you sign a dumb contract, you're kind of stuck on that.
Well, I
Contract.
do think that's the thing is back in the day when the characters were created is they hadn't signed the rights away yet, from what I understand. Yeah. And I'm sure, the guys like Steve Bissett would have all the actual information, so that would be a good spot to go for further details. But I think that's because it was like a retroactive thing where they created the characters and then the corporations kind of stole the rights for it.
Yeah, because I don't even think they didn't have those standard work for hire contracts or anything like that back then. I mean, I think, isn't that around the time when all that stuff was starting to happen?
I think so.
Like they were like these corporations or these companies were starting to make that kind of stuff. I might be making this up. I don't know. Go look it up on the internet. Don't trust me. But I think that's I heard somewhere that because that kind of changed my thinking of the whole thing is that like right now you're really you deserve what you get because everyone knows about these rotten contracts and stuff like that. Sometimes you're forced into it by just needing a job, right? Like we've signed away tons of our stuff that we've done, our artwork with animation, things like that I know, like there's no way we're going to get anything back from it. But what was I thinking? But back then I don't think it was really the same. I don't think they knew about that. So they didn't have Steve Ditko as an example of what could happen if you sign everything away. Same thing with the Alan Moore thing. just how things change, right? Like you can't foresee things. Like back when Alan Moore signed his contracts, the like keeping books in print was unheard of,
Yeah.
right? So that's the part of Alan Moore's contract that is kind of like, well, that's a little can't think of words.
It's too late.
I
That's
know.
what we get for doing podcasts at midnight.
Shitty. That's the only thing I can think of. on DC's part is that they kind of, you know, there was a understanding that once the books were out of print, then
Well, it's like the
everything would go
Darth
back.
Vader sequence with Lando, right?
Yeah.
This deal keeps getting worse all the time.
Pray I don't alter it any further.
But that's what it is. It's like whenever you're dealing with a corporation, Dave Sim had the best quote where he said, no corporation is going to ever pay you enough to sue them successfully. And that's what it comes down to. So whenever you're going to deal with some sort of corporate entity like that has that much power behind them, you have to realize that you're making a deal with the empire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's
and the interesting
you're gonna
thing
lose
with Watchmen and with Alan Moore is the fact that the book was originally supposed to be the charlatan heroes. So it was supposed to be like Blue Beetle and The Question and all those guys. Solar, wasn't it, for Dr. Manhattan?
I'm not sure.
But the fact that it started off with him doing a story about other characters that he didn't create, but then DC told him to change the characters, if I understand the story correctly. And then there's the rights on top of that. So with the Watchmen thing, there's this funny kind of back and forth. And have you read all the creators' rights discussion that Al Nickerson? He put a website together with a conversation between a whole bunch of different guys like Dave Sim and I think Eric Larson did a thing and a whole bunch of people going back and forth and discussion, mostly Dave Sim.
Yeah.
But just getting into all the different creators' rights discussions, and I think it was Dave Sim was talking about how, like, even though say a corporation doesn't create the character, like, would you have Superman today if DC Comics and Warner Brothers haven't been just fueling that for all these years? Would it just have faded out? I don't know. It's an interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously the Superman
the
comics. Yeah, the Superman comics at the beginning that Siegel and Schuster did are nothing like Superman now. I mean, it's absolutely nothing. But it was the idea that sparked it.
Have you read those daily strips?
Yeah, I have the book. I haven't gotten through all of them. I've read about half of them probably.
There's something about that though, which is just so pure. I love the fact that Superman is, like grabbing gangsters and jumping up into the air with them and threatening to throw them in the ocean and stuff. It's just
I know the first
naivety to it.
I know the first few, like reading it, it's like this isn't even like a there's no drama in it at all. Superman just comes in, punches them, and then he
it's so classic.
away.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
When the DC New 52 stuff was happening, I was hoping that it would be able to capture some of that. Like, I'm so sick of the Superman these days where he's just like this crying mama's boy. Oh, I just have all the powers of the universe. Oh, poor me. Shut up. You're not a man. No, put your red super shorts on the outside and go throw some gangsters into the ocean. Come on.
That's right. Yeah, no, he was definitely a man's man back in the 30s.
And one of his first adventures in the daily strips, he was like boxing.
He did he box?
Yeah, it was classic.
I remember him throwing the guys in the ocean.
Yeah,
I remember him with Lois Lane.
It's good stuff. But would it even be around? Like, did you see Axe Cop just got a cartoon?
Yeah, I saw that signed with Fox. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I asked Ethan if he was going to have anything to do with it, but he never got back to me. So I don't know if he's going to be involved at all, or if it's just a matter of letting Fox do what they will with the idea.
That stuff's always scary, isn't it? Like, it could be something really cool, like the Teen Titans or the Batman animated series, or it could end up like the Savage Dragon and Wildcats cartoons.
Yeah. I mean, I can picture it as cool. That's why I know with like the Possum, I'm not against any forms of media, like, making it a cartoon, making it a comic book, heck, even a live action. But I
Would you
would
do a
want
musical?
to.
Like Too Much Coffee
Sure,
Man, the
if I
musical?
sure I would. See, Too Much Coffee Man's perfect. Spider-Man, not so perfect. But Too Much Coffee Man, I mean, Shannon Wheeler had, he had a lot to do with that, right? Like he was
As far as I
doing
know. I
like
only talked to him for a little bit in San Diego.
yeah, I've never seen anything about it, but the idea of it, sure, it's fun. What the hell? But as long as it keeps that, as long as like the creators involved
I
or
think that's the main thing that has to happen.
it keeps what makes it cool in the first place, right? You get other people involved and producers and all this other stuff. They obviously don't have that magic of whatever made it cool in the first place because they didn't create it. So I don't know. Like I'm not against all those forms of media. I just I could see it how I would do it, and that would be the Possum the musical. However the heck I would do it, that would be what it would be. I wouldn't want someone to take it and run with it.
Well, when I was working on Hellboy, like the
Yeah.
first movie in 2004, that was one of the rumors that was circulating in the studio that at one point, the executives were saying, oh, well, he really needs like a car. He needs like the Hellboy car. And it's like all the stereotypical things you'd expect them to throw into it. And the funny thing is that Punisher movie came out roughly around the same time, and it had all those stupid gimmicks in it. Oh, it's the Punisher car. I never saw the movie, but I just thought it was hilarious.
Well, didn't they want him to have a dog, a hell
Yeah.
dog
Yeah,
too? That's
the dog and the
classic.
car.
Just watch all the original ideas that made Hellboy great.
I'm actually looking forward to the new comic now that Mignola is going to be back drawing it.
Oh, is he back drawing it?
Yeah, so Hellboy's dead, and so now it's Hellboy in Hell.
Hellboy. Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
When's that
supposed? Is it soon or is he just
drawing soon?
Is it?
Yeah, but apparently Mignola said that he didn't want to draw all the boring Earth stuff anymore. He just wanted to be able to draw anything he feels like drawing. So he figures kind of like an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. He said it's Hellboy in Hell.
I'll pick those up for sure. That's talking about since we're indie artists and this is the Kitchen Bros podcast and we promote new stuff. Another topic that another thing that I always think is that I found that with Hellboy is that even though looking at the comics, there's not a big difference between some of the artists that draw Hellboy and like Mike Mignola's stuff, and some of the artists they're great. It's great, but I just can't get into it if it's not the original artist.
I'm the same.
Like I stopped. I think I bought maybe one Hellboy by accident that Mike Mignola didn't draw, and I read it and I'm like, it's just not. It's just not.
Yeah, when I heard he was going to return, when he was going to go back to the art, I picked up the last couple issues which weren't drawn by him just so I can see, okay, what's going on? What did I miss for the last 10 years?
Yeah. And how were they? Did you read them?
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was because he was involved with the story, and the artwork was okay, but yeah, like I don't want to see the Possum drawn by somebody else. Like I don't care
unless it's in the letters page. Send me your Possum fan art.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing is that kind of stuff is fun. Like I've got hard drives full of artwork pulled off like Deviant Art or something where people do funny combinations of characters. I got there's a Harry Potter versus the Punisher, or like the Mignola did the Powerpuff Girls, and you get crazy things where it's neat to see.
Yeah. But not enough for a it's not canon to me. It's not part of the comic. I want to see the original guys. But then it's funny with these, like we were to bring it back to Superman, say. It's funny, what is Superman? Like whose Superman is it? Because if you read like Schuster and Siegel's, that's not most people's idea of Superman.
Right.
Right?
Most people think probably Christopher Reeves.
Yeah. I mean, it's what is Superman?
Like actually, man.
Because you read the comics, and I really I remember as a kid liking Superman, but to read the comics, I'm like, these are kind of lame.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think there was ever a Superman comic that I actually liked.
Yeah.
Like looking back, at all the comics that we had as kids, and there really was never a really good Superman. There was that Birthright one that came out maybe 10 years ago or something like that, which I thought was actually pretty good. But again, it's not. There's Scott Kurtz said something funny when you read, all the Ghost Rider stuff that was going on. Where
Yeah.
again, I don't have the names and I don't have an iPhone, so I can't get all the answers because I'm not going to Google search it. But where the guy was,
look it up at home. You'll know what we're talking about.
yeah, leave a comment.
Because I'm sure if you're watching this, you're on a computer or an iPhone, so you can look it up yourself. Don't be lazy.
So he was getting in trouble for selling Ghost Rider prints, but apparently he was getting other artists to draw them and then selling them. So,
Yeah.
Marvel, Disney had to come down on him. But then Scott Kurtz was saying, it's like, why are people even drawing other people's characters? I've been making a living for the past 10 years drawing a blue troll that farts.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Well, we've talked about this at conventions too, though. Is that what sells is, like, most people like Batman or Captain America or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Like, they don't really. You see people drawing, they don't care who draws it. They just want to draw.
Well, you know what? Okay, this is
an
my
original
theory.
Captain America drawing.
I think that in order to get people's attention, you have to do something like that. Like, that's the bait on the hook.
Yeah.
Right? So if you draw a Star Wars picture, you're going to have immediately people are going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
But then it's a way of incorporating your own thing into it. So they get lured in by the Star Wars parody or the Batman parody or whatever it is, and then they get introduced to your characters. Sort of why Dave Sims said he would always take sketch requests from people, but then he'd turn it into a Cerebus. So it'd be, I want Captain America. Okay, well, it'll be Cerebus holding a Captain America shield. And that's kind of what we've done with our sketches, but I think we can take that to the next level. Sort of like what we were saying with Kanan Grau with the Batman reference in his strip, and it's like the cockroach in Cerebus, where Dave said he had to do that just to get people's attention.
Yeah. Well, I tried to do that with a poster at the conventions with the Batgirl possum one. And it's gotten, it gets laughs every time people see it. But I don't know. I find that mentality. I understand why people would like it. But I just don't, I don't know. I don't think that way. I don't know.
Speaking of posters, check this.
Oh, nice. Oh, there you go.
So that turned out pretty good. So
I
was impressed with when you got the prints done of the Possum Spy Guy one.
Yeah. Where's that? We'll shameless plug. We'll put an insert with we've done a couple. I did a couple posters actually, a possum poster and the one that me and you did as well with the Possum Spy Guy. But that's pretty cool actually. It would look nice framed.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. That was almost like this perfect storm where just a whole bunch of different ideas all at once. Where Seth Godin was talking about a one-page book, and then I was thinking it would be fun to do just a one-page comic and a good excuse to do it in color. And at the same time, Javier was doing that with his. He was doing like the one-page comics with his, like the poster comics. And
Javier Hernandez. His stuff is some of those characters are awesome that he's doing with the.
They're
the
so
one-pagers.
Ditko. It's amazing. It's kind of like mixing Ditko with Watchmen.
Yeah, they're awesome. We'll do a little screen grab of that for you. Check it out. But I think that the poster comics are a great idea. Now it'll be interesting to see what do people like them, or is that just?
Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
I think they're cool.
I didn't want to, say anything or promote anything until you see what it looks like and see if the artwork looks good. I was concerned. There's a paper texture that I put on it to make it look like a newspaper. Wasn't sure if that was going to be too dark. But
oh, did you? I couldn't tell when you held it up.
You can't tell from the little compressed video. I guess not. But
yeah, cool.
Anything else? Or should we wrap this thing up?
I'm sure there's lots to talk about. We can talk forever. But well, I don't know. I don't know how long we've been going. How long we've been going? Do you have a tracker?
35 minutes.
35 minutes. We're about right. So on that, I'm gonna go see the Avengers, whether Kirby gets his money or not. But I figure, although I would like, if I could pay Kirby to go see the Avengers, I would pay Kirby.
This is another idea I was having with this whole.
Or Kirby's
ideas. Okay, there's the Dave Sim thing where he's saying that he doesn't think that any creator should be able to, is divested the right word, where you lose your rights to a character. He doesn't think that no matter what happens, a creator of something is able to lose less than 4% ownership of it. And he did that with Gerhard, with Aardvark, Vanaheim, and Cerebus, where even though he's bought back all the shares of the company, apparently Gerhard still gets that 4% ownership.
Even though he didn't ask for it, Dave's just sending him the.
Yeah, he's just sending him the checks, which is interesting.
Say what you will about Dave Sim, but he has. I mean, he is fair and true to his word, and
he
says what he or does what he says, and
he really thinks about this stuff, because apparently he got the idea back with the whole Ninja Turtles thing where Kevin Eastman sold his share to Peter Laird.
Yeah.
And so he was, had nothing left from it. And Dave Sim was thinking, he's like, well, that doesn't quite seem right. You should have something, even if it's as low as 4%, and that's the number he came up with. So when it came his turn, that's what he stuck with. But imagine that if, with all these Marvel characters, if that was the case, so the Kirby heirs get their 4% of
billions.
All this, yeah.
Billions.
Well, it's
and why not?
Why not? How much are they paying for lawyers?
Yeah, I know. Probably twice that. It would have been easy just to. Oh, but the lawyers got to get paid too, Mike. They have families.
And now here's another thing. So what if anybody who works on a character that was created by somebody else, if the creator actually gave the 4%? Right? So if you're, Dan Slott working on Spider-Man, right? You're getting your check for all the work. It's like, you know what? Ditko created this character. Here's, what would you call it? Is stipend the right word? It's like
stipend? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But it's like, look, I'm making a killing off of this character. You created it. Here's my donation to you. So you can't expect the corporations to do the right thing. But a creator working on the work? Like, what if every single creator...
Wait. The creator... Obviously, the creator is getting paid his 4%?
Okay, so
is that what you're saying?
Well, it could be anything.
If the corporation's taken... No, but using these numbers. Is this what you're saying? Like, if the corporation's taken their 96%, the creator gets his 4%, then you're saying 4% of the 4% goes to the...
Okay, this is what I'm thinking. In the case of Spider-Man, you got Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
Okay, but Marvel owns all that stuff outright. Or Disney does now. So now you got Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos working on Spider-Man.
Okay.
So they're getting paid by Marvel. Marvel's not giving anything to Ditko or Stan Lee, I'm assuming.
Okay.
So Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos say, you know what? Okay, I just got paid, I don't know, $10,000. Here's $400.
To Ditko.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That would be a swell thing to do if you could.
Wouldn't it?
I thought you meant the other way around, right? So that wouldn't make any sense because Ditko's not getting 4% of nothing. Still nothing. So yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. And because the other way would be a nightmare to keep track of, but this one they're getting paid a paycheck.
Yeah, it's like you're the creator on the book right now on characters that you didn't create. Okay, so say the Before Watchmen. If everybody on Before Watchmen, cut a check to Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. It's like, look, I know that we're doing your characters, and I know DC's not giving you your rights, but I'm making a killing doing these books. Here's a check.
If
Of course,
they're-
Alan
are
Moore
they
would probably
making a
rip his
killing,
out.
or are they just?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah,
I bet those
I
are
have
gonna
no
be
idea.
huge.
I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed when I find out what people are actually making. Some of them are. The creators, people who own their creations, seem to be doing well. But how much are they actually getting paid?
I don't know, for mainstream.
Because they're getting page rates from Marvel and DC and stuff, right? I wonder what they're actually getting paid.
Yeah, if you
Because I
work
was
for
surprised
Marvel or
to find out-
DC and want to give us some numbers, leave a comment
Yeah.
in the YouTube section.
I know. Because I'm always amazed you see these people where they're like, you think, oh, they got to be making a killing, but they're actually, I mean, it's not a killing by any means.
Hmm.
You know, compared to like the pay scales in animation and things like that.
Yeah,
It's,
we've heard comments about comic artists and talking about storyboards and stuff before, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. So
interesting.
I don't know.
What a
And
crazy business.
I'm thinking how that your little theory would apply to animation as well, because that's what I'm actually getting paid in. It's like there's no way I could ever figure out who designed what character, and they don't pay me enough anyways. It's all actually all that stuff is just all designed for the same way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. The whole thing's a mess. That's why you got to do your own stuff. You got to,
Even if it's a blue farting troll.
even if it's a blue farting troll or a guy in a spy hat or a guy in purple pajamas, you just got to keep doing it and make it the best damn thing you can make it. And one day you'll reap the rewards, or you'll have a boxes of comics in your basement that your kids can color and your grandkids can color.
Can't
And then-
lose.
But you can still sit on those boxes, like make a big throne out of it, and feel like you're the king of your domain. And look what I created.
Game of Thrones. I've been obsessed with that lately.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
I haven't. I know nothing about Game of Thrones.
Crazy good. But that's
I got.
for another podcast.
Is it good? I got tricked into watching. What's that? The Island one. The Island show.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch that.
Oh, I'm like an old man. I'm turning into that old man who doesn't know anything.
Is that
about
Lost?
popular culture. Lost. Yeah, I got tricked into watching Lost, and it was a colossal letdown at the end by my wife. She tricked me into it. And then ever since then, I've been very weary about getting into any TV show. But I guess Game of Thrones was a book or something first, right?
Yeah.
So there is an ending and there is a story to it.
Apparently. It's mind-blowing. But
Is it? Yeah. What's that other one? The Hunger Games. I know nothing about that either. Everyone's talking about that now.
yeah, everyone's talking about that. I don't know. I think that might be a eugenics movie, but
Yeah. I think it's different, though. Isn't it? It has nothing to do with eating food, does it? I think it's
as far as I know, it's about children killing each other in the forest.
in the forest, yeah. And then not to get. All I know, you don't get your weapon first. Get your food and shelter first. Don't get your weapons first. If you're ever lost in the forest in the battle, get your food. That's all I know about it. Other
Going
than that,
after the battle.
yeah. Other than that, I don't know.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
All right.
So I'm Mike Kitchen.
I'm Blair Kitchen.
And this has been our Comic Book Podcast. Episode 4. Tune in next time for episode 5. Maybe not at 12 o'clock.
Right. And then after that, see how long. Now we're gonna do it.
All right. Kitchen Bros out.
Oh.